So this is going to be my prediction map for the 2016 presidential election between Democrat Hillary Clinton and Republican Donald Trump. First, I'm going to show you a little bit of information from 538. Project 538 is it's founded by Nate Silver, who in 2008 correctly predicted 49 out of 50 of the states to vote for either Obama or McCain, and 50 out of 50 in 2012 between Obama and Romney. This guy has a strong track record, correctly predicting not only political outcomes, but also sports and entertainment and whatnot. So, based on the polls only forecast, based on forecasts of just what the polls have shown, this is saying that Hillary Clinton right now would have an 87.8% chance of beating Donald Trump in the general election. And of course, this site can do it state by state for you, showing you the percent chance of winning based on that. Now, the polls plus forecast will show you what the polls show and also what demographics and voter turnout and a little bit more kind of tell you about the election. Still, Hillary Clinton has a pretty strong chance of winning the presidency. What's really kind of interesting is to see the nowcast. This was how the electorate would vote if the general election were held today, and that's a pretty strong showing for Hillary Clinton. She's actually doing quite well in the South, which is a pretty remarkable feat for Democrats. I mean, a 77% chance of winning North Carolina, that is very, very incredible. Doesn't say as much about Hillary as it does about Trump, I would probably say. Not a lot of parties changing alignments very much in the past couple of years. It's just mostly the unpopularity of one candidate versus the other. Really, a lot of Americans are saying that they feel they're picking between the lesser of two evils. It's a very difficult choice for them. So that's what it's looking like there. Let's go to 270 to win. And let's look at this electoral map. Easiest thing to do is to get rid of the states that we know are going to vote Republican or Democrat based on demographics and the way that they voted for the past couple election cycles. So easiest states are Alaska and Hawaii, which vote Republican and Democrat respectively. Again, Washington, Oregon, California, very easy. They have strong urban populations, pretty progressive out west. They pretty much always will be voting Democrat. No surprises there. Also no surprises in states like Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. Very easy. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. I don't think anyone would disagree with New Mexico voting Democrat, as they have so many times in the past. Minnesota, another state, easy Democrat. I mean, even when Ronald Reagan won 49 out of 50 states, Minnesota was the one holdout. Very strong Democrat there. Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Indiana. Easily Republican states. No question there. Illinois, easily Democratic. Again, no question there. Strong urban population, Chicago area, very Democratic. Similar story in the Northeast, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, New York, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, D.C. No surprises there either. I don't think anyone would disagree. Those states, they're part of what's called the blue wall, the electoral votes that always go Democratic. All right, and then another easy one would be South Carolina. Almost always votes Republican. Even though in the last poll Trump was only up by 2 percentage points, I think he's going to edge out the victory there. I don't think there's going to be much concern. Now, let's get into each state and look at how it's going to look on November 8th. So I actually didn't highlight Utah, even though it's a very solid Republican state. The reason is because of the Mormon population, who, all in all, despise Donald Trump. They think he is a terrible person. They, not to get into it, they do not like what he said about their religion and their culture. But the problem is for Democrats that the Mormon vote isn't going to be enough to drive away Trump. There's probably going to be plenty of Republicans who will still vote for him as well. That's going to stay Republican. Arizona is a state that has gotten a little bit of attention lately, starting to lean Democratic. If we go back to 538, there's based on, let's look at the Polls Plus forecast. Trump only has about a 70% chance of winning there, and it's not as strong as in years past. The thing is, I think he's going to win there. I think it's definitely going to be Republican, especially because of the people living in the southern part of the state who have strong support for Donald Trump's rhetoric about building a wall on the southern border. Colorado is a state that was supposed to be a battleground, but it's looking more and more likely every day that it's going solid Democrat. There are a lot of millennial voters out in Colorado who not necessarily support Clinton, but detest Trump. They have a really serious issue with him, and they're probably going to turn out to vote against him. The other kind of indicator is that the Clinton campaign has all but withdrawn from the state. They have cut virtually all ads on TV and on the internet for Colorado. That's a sign that they have that state in the bag, and it's a 9 electoral votes. Similar story in Nevada, and it's a little bit more telling because it's actually a little bit easier to predict because of the fact that it only has 6 electoral votes. It's just not where anybody is really focused. It's going to go Democratic. It's a very similar story as in Colorado. Now you're probably wondering why I didn't highlight Nebraska. It's not because I don't think Trump's going to win there. I just think that he's probably going to win all but 1 electoral vote there. I think that Hillary Clinton is going to just get 1 in Nebraska the way Obama did in 2008. But I could be wrong about that. Now there's been a little bit of talk about Iowa. It's still in striking distance for Trump. I think that he probably will eke out a victory there. Large rural populations, a lot of a lot of blue collar workers who have strong support for him. I think they will probably turn out and vote for him. There's been a lot of talk about a strategy for the RNC that involves the Rust Belt states, especially Wisconsin and Michigan. Wisconsin because of the popularity of its governor Scott Walker and him standing up to the unions. Michigan, especially because of the manufacturing and the results of Democratic leadership in cities like Detroit. Issue there is absolutely no infrastructure for the Republican Party to do any kind of campaigning there. It's just not possible. They don't have records. They can't get to voters. They just don't have the infrastructure there. And polls have shown Hillary is pretty strong up there. And let's just look. 88.1% chance that Hillary wins and 89.3% chance in Michigan. She's going to win these 2 states. Now she's only 20 electoral votes away from the presidency. 23, excuse me. Now, we're getting into the states that are probably going to determine the election. Starting with Georgia. Georgia is a state that has been rather solidly Republican every year, a little less so every election cycle. This time around, it's looking like it's becoming a battleground state. I do, however, think that it's going to go to Trump in the end. The Clinton campaign is working to get voters out in the urban areas especially the Atlanta area, but I don't think that'll be enough to really flip the state blue for Hillary. Let's look up north. It's going to be, okay, so let's actually look at West Virginia. Easy state to go red. There's strong, of course, there are blue collar workers there, but there are also, in those blue collar workers, there are many coal miners. Coal is a huge industry in West Virginia, and Hillary Clinton has openly denounced coal. She hates coal. They hate her. That's easy. But what's more interesting is what that coal rhetoric will do for Ohio and Pennsylvania. In Ohio, the state, in the part of the state that borders Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Kentucky, it's a kind of similar demographic. A lot of coal mining, a lot of hate for Hillary Clinton. The issue is with the rest of the state. Of course, there are the big cities that tend to vote Democratic, but there's also a little bit of a lack of organization from the RNC, and a little bit of that is due to what has happened with the GOP in Ohio. Remember that the governor of Ohio is John Kasich. John Kasich is a very popular governor in Ohio, and what he says goes for, obvious reasons. He refused to endorse Donald Trump. He is in the same kind of line as Ted Cruz on that. Ted Cruz said to vote your conscience. I think that many Ohio voters will get out there and vote their conscience. They will probably vote for a third party, which would take votes away from Donald Trump and flip the state to Hillary Clinton. The thing is, I think they can get over that. I think that Ohio has a strong hate, really, towards Hillary Clinton, especially in the South. I think it's going to go to Trump. Pennsylvania, Western PA has a similar story. The issue is Eastern PA for Trump. Philadelphia area, strong Democratic support, some of the strongest in the whole union. What's interesting about it is that not only the urban center, but also most of the towns around Philadelphia are very liberal as well. That's not extremely common, but that's the way that it's set up there. And that can be enough to really outweigh all of the Western Pennsylvania voters who would vote for Trump. I think that Pennsylvania is going to go to Clinton. Polls have also shown that she is going to end up doing well there. Now you can see that Hillary is only 3 electoral votes from the presidency. She only needs one of these 3 states to win. Let's take a look at Virginia. 84.1% chance of winning. Why? The war on women. In 2012, it's how Obama won the Northern Virginia vote, or NOVA as they call it. And it's going to be how Hillary wins this time. There are so many women voters in Northern Virginia, single women voters. They might not like Hillary Clinton, they might not love her, but they hate Donald Trump. They're going to vote for him. That's going to outweigh whatever other votes there are in the state. I don't think it's going to be much of a surprise. I don't think it's much of a battleground this time around. North Carolina and Florida are what's left. Of course, Clinton is already at 280, but let's finish the map. North Carolina is a state that has a governor re-election coming up. Governor McCrory is the Republican. He's not doing so hot right now. It's going to be difficult there. Latest poll has Clinton up by 9 points against Trump, and there is a lot of rhetoric against Governor McCrory and a certain controversial bathroom bill that his General Assembly passed earlier in the summer. I don't think that the way that the Research Triangle votes, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, I don't think that'll be enough. I think that will be enough to outweigh any of the more rural votes for Trump. I think it's going to go to Clinton. Now, I will say right now that if Donald Trump can't win North Carolina, he can't win Florida. True, there's a lot of support for him up in the panhandle bordering Alabama and Georgia. There is virtually no support for him south of that. Not only are there huge urban populations, which are very beneficial to Democrats, there is a strong force of anti Trump Hispanics in the Florida area. They don't trust him. They don't trust his rhetoric. They're going to probably go out and not just vote for Hillary, but to vote against Trump. And this is the electoral map for 2016. Any of this could change, but I think this is the way it's going to go. Thanks for watching.